Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
Sit down. I need to talk to your sister, Rachel said as she walked in from work, her mood clearly sour. The way she mentioned my sister, Sophie, my feminine persona, was puzzling. Rachel had always been supportive of Sophie and our relationship. At that moment, I was dressed as James, in jeans and a long-sleeved shirt. I have a decent female voice, soft and broad. I switched into Sophie, asking, "Did I do something to upset you?" Rachel, sitting across from me, smiled. "Not at all, Sophie. You've been out of work for 6 weeks and haven't found a job," she continued. I was ready to argue, but Rachel held up her hand. "I know. With Martin closing their plant, there are 2,000 people in the same boat. But I have a proposition for you." Her smile widened. "Nina is going on maternity leave in 2 weeks, and Julie has moved away. I had a long lunch with Lydia today and told her everything about you, Sophie. She wouldn't guarantee anything, but she agreed to give you an interview on Monday at 9 a.m. You're serious?" "Absolutely. Right now, we're managing with your unemployment check, but what happens when that runs out?" "I'll find something." "Sure, along with thousands of former co-workers. There are hardly any jobs, not even minimum wage ones, and our checking account is nearly empty. I've suspected my boss had a bit of a wild side, and she confirmed it by agreeing to the interview. But, no buts. Tomorrow's a holiday, giving us 3 days to get you ready and practice. Besides, you've always fantasized about this. Well, that fantasy is about to become reality." Rachel had me figured out. Since I can remember, I've been a TV enthusiast, and this was one of my biggest fantasies. Rachel and Sophie got along well, and she encouraged me to go out dressed, something I'd never had the courage to do before meeting her. We had dinner, and then spent a few more hours discussing the upcoming interview and how to prepare. Lydia owns a design company with a classy advertising focus and employs 20 women. I had met her once at a Christmas party last December. She's Hispanic, tall, with long, thick black hair. Though she was polite, she exuded a no-nonsense attitude. Nina, who is pregnant, is her receptionist, a petite brunette with a pixie cut. Lydia's staff are all attractive, and she enforces a strict dress code, no pants or flats, and only she and Sherry, the office manager, are allowed to wear suits. Sophie is good with makeup and hairstyles and has a decent wardrobe. However, Rachel insisted we go shopping in the morning to find the perfect interview outfit. Since overcoming my initial fears, shopping together had become enjoyable. I planned to go casual with my hair in a ponytail and was about to pull on my black jeans over my pantyhose when Rachel stopped me. Sophie, take those off." "Not today." "Why not?" "I usually wear jeans when I go out." "Look, you can wear them if you really want, but look at yourself struggling to pull them up so tight. Today's about shopping for office wear, and you'll need to try things on to ensure they fit well. Just imagine getting in and out of them in a small changing booth." She had a solid point. "Why not wear this?" she suggested, holding out my full denim skirt. As I smoothed the skirt to a few inches above my knees, Rachel handed me my white Angora turtleneck sweater. "Wear your red heels and matching belt." I carefully slipped the sweater over my head, avoiding any makeup smudges, then fastened the 2-inch belt over the fuzzy sweater and skirt before heading to the closet for the shoes. Looking in the mirror, I asked, "Don't you think 4-inch heels are a bit much with this skirt?" "No, you look great. Besides, Lydia likes to see us in heels. Sometimes I think she might be into women, but with the guys she's dated, I'm not sure. You can use my red purse if you want." Rachel was dressed entirely in black, a snug turtleneck, tight mini skirt, tights, and knee-high boots with 3-inch heels. It was early October, warm enough not to need jackets or coats. She drove us to the mall, timing our arrival for when it opened. With the Columbus Day sales, it was already bustling. I quickly got into the shopping mood, and Rachel was a fantastic help, selecting items for me to try on. We were cautious, buying only a few things to avoid maxing out our credit cards. She splurged on one item, a sterling anklet engraved simply with Rachel's. It thrilled me when she insisted on putting it on me in the jewelry store, with the sales staff giggling when they realized we were a couple. Playing along, Rachel looked serious as she paid. "You must wear this all the time, Sophie. If I catch you without it, the punishment you received last time will seem like a walk in the park." I turned bright red, and she could barely contain her laughter until we were out in the corridor. Did you see their faces? That was hilarious. The act was just a taste of what was to come. Rachel spent all Saturday morning applying a set of long acrylic nails. They extended over an inch beyond my fingertips when she finished shaping them and started on the first coat of polish. "Rachel, I can't wear nails this long," I protested. Although they felt great, doing simple tasks was challenging. "Can't? That's odd, you're already managing," she grinned. "But I'll never be able to work with these." "You'll adjust. Necessity is the mother of invention." Her own nails were long but only half the length of mine. They looked stunning, and I'd seen her use her knuckles and the sides of her fingers for tasks I typically did with my fingertips. "You have the rest of today and all of tomorrow to practice." I noted how she was taking on a more dominant role in our relationship. Before finishing with the top coat, she carefully used tweezers to place tiny rhinestones into ornate KS on each of my pinky nails. "I want there to be no doubt about who you belong to, Sophie." She woke me earlier than usual on Monday, insisting I remove all body hair, even though I had just done it on Friday. The night before, she spent an hour trimming and setting my hair, a first for me with curlers. Despite my pleas, she refused to reveal what she had done, saying, "You'll see in the morning when it's finished." I dressed in elastic white bikinis to keep everything securely in place, black sheer energy legs pantyhose, a white underwire bra, and a carefully positioned set of silicone-filled forms in C-cups. I then slipped into a white satin full slip with delicate lace detailing and began my makeup. You'll make a better impression on Lydia if you remember that she prefers being addressed as Lydia rather than Miss Penasso, and never use MS in her presence, Sophie. Lydia likes a bit more makeup than most offices allow. What do you suggest? That's up to you, hun. Other than your hair, you're on your own. I sat at her brightly lit vanity, studying my face before starting. After setting my hair the night before, Rachel had thinned and shaped my eyebrows. What she had actually done was pluck most of them out, leaving thin lines above the inner corners and extending just past my pupils, angled upward. I noticed this while shaving but couldn't do anything about the missing hair. With my makeup completed, more dramatic than I would have chosen, Rachel added extra mascara, liner, and blush before focusing on my hair. As an expert, she finished styling it quickly. "Get dressed." I turned to see my bangs, full and long, darkened with pencil, and a manner of soft waves framing my face. Despite the heavy makeup, the look was better than any I had previously achieved. For the interview, I wore a dark green, long-sleeved knit sheath dress that ended several inches above my knees, a cheetah print suede belt, black calfskin pumps with 4-inch heels, and silver jewelry, 2 herringbone chains, a thin watch, a ring, and 1-inch clip-on hoop earrings. Despite my efforts, I needed Rachel's help with my anklet and closing the back zipper due to my nails. At the mall, I had bought a black envelope purse, approximately 9 by 12 inches, to match my shoes. I packed it with the makeup I had just applied, a compact, my fam wallet, keys, a package of tissues, an extra pair of pantyhose just in case, a steno pad, 2 pens, and edited copies of my resume. Rachel finished by dabbing Shalimar perfume under my ears, on my neck, wrists, and the hollows of my knees and ankles. "Model for me," she instructed. "You'll do just fine. I'm sure." My stomach was full of butterflies. I had only orange juice for breakfast while Rachel had her usual coffee. "I'll rinse up now. I don't want anything to happen to those nails." Since she had put them on, I had not been allowed to do anything that might damage them. "Just be yourself," Rachel advised. You do a great job being Sophie, and there's nothing to worry about. She parked the car and turned off the engine. Without asking, she took my purse from my lap, extracting my keys, all but 5 singles from my wallet, and my driver's license. Why did you do that? I asked as she placed the purse back on my lap. With a Cheshire cat grin, she asked, "What's engraved on your anklet, Sophie?" "Rachel's." "And what does that mean?" "It means you and I are together." I almost said boyfriend and girlfriend, but corrected myself to girlfriends. Partially right. "Out," she said as she opened her door. The electric locks clicked. As she came around to my side, she added, "Take a walk. It's a nice morning. Don't be too early, and definitely don't be late. Good luck." "I really mean that." She turned and walked towards the office building. It took me a moment to realize I was just standing in the parking lot, looking suspicious. Carefully navigating in my heels, I made my way to the sidewalk and followed it to the street. The office complex was across from a park, where I decided to go. It was pleasant. Sitting by the lake allowed me to relax and reflect on what I was doing and the changes unfolding in my life. I also felt reassured that this might be real and not some elaborate joke Rachel and Lydia had set up to play on me, which had seemed like a real possibility. At 8:40, I checked my makeup and refreshed my red lipstick using my compact. I entered the office at 8:53. Nina, who was visibly pregnant, looked up with a smile as I approached her desk. My heart raced and my stomach felt tight as I walked up to her. "May I help you, miss?" she asked as she noticed my clicking heels. "I'm Sophie Parker. I have an appointment with Miss Panasso," I said, extending my revised resume. Instead of taking it, she handed me a clipboard. "Please have a seat, fill this out, and bring it back when you're done." Growing increasingly nervous, I found a seat and carefully sat down, smoothing my dress under my thighs. The clipboard held an application for employment, a form I knew well from previous experience. I almost checked the box next to MS but caught myself just in time. Nina smiled as I returned the clipboard. "Would you like coffee or tea, Miss Parker?" "No, thank you." "Please take a seat again. Miss Panasso will be with you shortly." "I'll take your resume now." I felt foolish as I fumbled with my nails, trying to retrieve the resume from my purse. Why couldn't she have just taken it when I offered it earlier? I returned to my seat after filling out the application, trying to make myself comfortable. It didn't take long to notice Nina grinning at me from ear to ear. Seeing that I had caught her watching, she stood up, saying, "Get used to it, Miss Parker. It's part of the job." Still grinning, she waddled down the hall, her big belly making her movements slow. A few minutes later, she came back and sat behind her desk, still smiling. "Before I was pregnant, I was pretty cute. Lydia likes us to make a good impression on clients. The receptionist is their first point of contact, and often they have to wait. We give them something to think about so they don't get too bored. You know what I mean, Miss Parker?" I had nothing to say in response. Time dragged on, and the minutes felt like hours. At 9:46, Nina said, "Miss Parker, Lydia is still busy. Why don't you come over here, and I'll show you the ropes. Even if you don't get the job, it might help with your next interview." Bored and anxious from the inactivity, I got up and walked over to her. She gestured to a backless chair and said, "Sit here." I took her seat while she adjusted a headset and microphone on me. "This is the switchboard. You answer calls with Panasso Graphic Designs. This is Sophie. How may I assist you today?" She giggled when my head snapped toward her. "Just give it a try, Chris." Nina put on another headset, plugging it in. "You'll hear me, but callers won't." I heard her voice in my ear. "This is the fax machine. The instructions are straightforward." She went over them. "For the copier, Lydia insists on using real paper. Never send her a fax on that curly paper, make a copy first but keep the original." Returning to the switchboard, Nina detailed its functions. Nothing happened, and the phone remained silent. After 15 minutes, she joked, "Tough job, Huh? Think you can handle it? I shrugged. Sure. Nina removed her headset. I'm going to powder my nose. She left me alone. As soon as she closed the door, the phone beeped. It was an internal call. I pressed the button to connect. Sophie. How can I help you? Who? Never mind. Where's Nina? I checked the directory and realized it was Lydia calling. She's in the restroom, Miss Penasso. The call disconnected, and I heard Lydia's heels approaching. Dressed in a plum wool suit, black hose, and very high heels, Lydia stopped a few feet from me, glaring. Before I could react, an outside call came in. Good morning. Penasso Graphic Designs. This is Sophie. How may I assist you today? I heard Lydia chuckle as the caller responded. It was for Lydia. After a moment's hesitation, I said, Miss Penasso is currently occupied. May I take your name and number so she can return your call? The caller provided the information, and I wrote it down on a pink message pad, repeating it back to confirm. Is there anything else I can assist you with, sir? When he replied with another offer, I responded, I'm currently unavailable. Thank you for your offer, sir, and then disconnected the call. When I looked up, Lydia glared at me, shaking her head with her arms folded across her chest. She didn't move until Nina returned, pointed at me, and gestured towards the corridor from which she had come. I stood up, and Nina gave me a thumbs up and mouthed, good luck. Still maintaining a stern and annoyed demeanor, Lydia instructed, model for me. I curtsied and then turned to face her again. Again, she said. I repeated the gesture. Sit, she directed, pointing to a chair, before moving to sit behind her desk. I tried to sit gracefully, keeping my knees and feet together, smoothing my dress, and pointing my feet back as I perched on the edge of the chair with my purse in my lap. As I settled, albeit uncomfortably, I met her gaze. Lydia's lips gradually spread into a wide smile that revealed her perfect, white teeth. I'm quite pleasantly surprised, Sophie. It's a do-nothing, go-nowhere job. Look pretty, answer the phone, handle the fax, make copies, do the mail. Any bimbo should be able to handle it. The pay is $400 a week, with full benefits, 12 holidays, and 2 weeks vacation. Do you want it? Just like that, the interview was over. Yes, please, I answered nervously. When would you like me to start, Miss Penasso? Lydia, she corrected. Don't forget it again. Before concluding, Lydia added, there are a few details I need your owner to agree to as well. Is that okay? My owner. I realized my mistake as soon as the words left my mouth. What's engraved on your anklet, Sophie? Rachel's. As in Rachel owns you, right? You're her property. You are her slave. I hadn't really thought of our relationship like that. No, I suppose not. Lydia picked up the phone and dialed a preset number. Lydia, come to my office, please. She continued to grin until Rachel arrived, giving me only a brief glance before focusing entirely on Lydia. Please, sit down, Lydia said. When Rachel had taken her seat, Lydia continued, I've offered your girlfriend the job, Rachel. I'm confident she'll do well. $400 a week, full benefits acceptable. That's up to Sophie, Rachel replied. Lydia shook her head. I think it's up to you. You bought that anklet, and I doubt she could fasten it herself with those killer nails. I also doubt she put your initials on her pinkies by herself. I wanted to mention that those initials were also mine, but I didn't think of it quickly enough. Lydia opened a low drawer and pulled out a stack of $20 bills. I expect your girl to be tightly corseted, and I want her in a real steel chastity belt. I'm willing to wait for the belt, however long it takes to acquire. She counted out $800 and pushed it towards Rachel. I understand the corset, Rachel said, but could you explain the chastity belt? Pretty simple, Lydia said, leaning back in her chair. I just hired a very attractive receptionist named Sophie. She picked up my application, read it, and set it down. Sophie Cynthia Parker. Nice girl. You and the other girls here are all very attractive. I want to ensure that my new receptionist maintains appropriate behavior both on and off duty. I'll be in control of the key. If her performance is satisfactory, I might occasionally lend you the key. I promise it will never be used by anyone else, and I won't use it myself. Rachel gave me a grin. That's very generous and reasonable. Thank you, Lydia. Lydia turned to me. Before you start tomorrow, I need to see some real commitment, Sophie. She slid $60 toward me. Get some nice earrings and have your ears pierced for at least 3 pairs today. Leaning back, she said to Rachel, perhaps you'd enjoy an early and long lunch today. It was clear we were being dismissed. Rachel waited for me to stand and then signaled me to follow her. As we walked through the lobby, she said, Nina, I'll be out for a while. Congratulations on the job, Sophie. I knew you could do it. Nina called after me. I hesitated before responding. A corset and chastity belt weren't part of this, Rachel. Neither was a higher salary than your last job or more than you received from unemployment. If you don't like it, I'll drive home and you can be moved out before I return from work. We agreed to share expenses when you moved in, and you're quite behind. Do you want to decline the job? Fine. Make it on your own. What's it going to be? She paused at the lot exit. Mall or home to pack? I'll let you get my ears pierced, I replied. Let me. Rachel laughed. You've got that wrong. Lydia handed you the cash for that. Okay. Rachel, I don't want to be in a chastity belt. I didn't hear you tell Lydia that. I'll tell you something I haven't shared before, Sophie. It really annoys me that you play with yourself. I give you plenty of pleasure, or at least I think I do, but you're never satisfied. I wish I had thought of getting a chastity belt for you, one I could control. I was pleased to hear Lydia would be managing it. You'll have to earn the privilege of her giving me the key, and I'll need to be in the right mood to use it before returning it. I hope the lock is one that can't be easily duplicated. We entered the mall together. There's the piercing kiosk, Sophie. Choose 3 pairs of earrings, avoid gold, and the cost will cover the piercings. I want 4 in your left ear and 3 in your right. But Lydia said I only needed 3 in each, I protested. And I told you what I want. Meet me in the food court, Rachel said, walking away. Feeling overwhelmed, I stood in the middle of the mall in my green sheath and heels, trying to adjust to everything happening so quickly. Gathering my resolve, I walked to the kiosk and began browsing their selection. It wasn't anything like I had imagined. Proud of the 7 silver-toned studs in my ears, I sat beside Rachel with a big smile. Good for you, Sophie. I told you that you could do this. We decided to skip the food court and have lunch at one of the nicer restaurants. Rachel filled me in on my new co-workers and shared more about the company than I had known before. But soon, it was time to head back to the office. Nina informed me that Lydia wanted to see me, so I went to her office. I think it would be a nice touch if you curtsied to me and everyone else, Sophie. Her look made it clear she expected me to demonstrate. Again. Go deeper this time, not just a small dip like before. She had me do 3 more curtsies until she was satisfied. You'll curtsy when entering or leaving any office, when spoken to, and to visitors in the lobby. Understood. Yes, Lydia, I said, curtsying once more. Very good. Why don't you ask Rachel to show you around the office and introduce you to everyone? After that, you'll need to water and tend to the office plants, as part of your duties. By the way, only Rachel and I are to know your big secret, okay? That's fine with me. Thank you, Lydia. On the way home, Rachel raised the stakes. Now that you have a full-time job, it's time to live as a full-time girl. Her expression indicated there was more to come. She knew I understood by the grin on her face. I'll handle dinner tonight. I want you to pack up every trace of James' everything. We'll drop the clothes at Goodwill tomorrow and throw the rest away. Is that clear? Do you want me to start calling you mistress too? Don't be cheeky. For now, Rachel or Carr will do. Since you'll soon be in a chastity belt, I see no reason why you shouldn't start taking hormones to stop needing these. She squeezed my silicone forms. I wasn't pleased with the changes a chastity belt would bring. I want you to make a doctor's appointment on your own to get started. Yes, I'm serious. Rachel, my voice faltered. Does this mean we won't have intimate moments together anymore? We'll still have plenty of intimacy, just not in a boy-girl way. It will be girl-girl, that's all. Don't worry about it. Also, you'll need to apply for a name change and update all your documents: social security, birth certificate, checking account, license, credit cards, and so on. I was in tears when we got home. Sophie, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Isn't this your fantasy come true? Please, Car, it's just too much. My tears streamed uncontrollably. Come on, pull yourself together. I know it's overwhelming with everything happening at once, but it's all part of your dream. Go upstairs, dry your eyes, and fix your makeup. I'll make us a nice dinner. Somehow, though I don't know how, I managed to follow her instructions, stop crying, and redo my makeup. She must have heard me on the stairs and met me with a glass of white wine. Here, this might help you relax. Dinner's started. Come, sit with me. I followed Rachel's advice and sat next to her on the couch. The room was cozy with lit candles and soft music playing. Sophie, it's been a hectic day for you, and I understand that. Since starting all this on Friday, I've had plenty of time to think. I've decided this is really how I want you to be and how I want us to be together. She rested her cheek against my chest and snuggled closer. You smell so lovely, she cooed. It's your perfume. Watch out, I might steal it. No, you're not. It's yours. Shalimar suits your personality, Sophie. Consider it a gift. She pulled away slightly, sitting upright. Be honest with yourself and with me. Everything that's happened today and what Lydia and I have planned for you, is this really what you want, dear? Yes, I admitted reluctantly but truthfully. She urged me to get up. You're to be dressed all the time, including makeup, jewelry, and heels, except when you're sleeping. Then you'll wear a nightie. There are trash bags for James's things under the kitchen sink. Get started, and I'll call you for dinner. As I headed toward the kitchen, Rachel called after me, "Don't let me catch you without your heels on or you'll be in trouble." After wearing them all day, that was the one thing I longed to do, kick them off. It was past midnight when I finished sorting everything, and Rachel inspected my work. May I keep some things for when we have guests, or when we visit relatives, please? Her glare and sharp response made it clear. No. You are Sophie Cynthia Parker and no one else. There will be no pretending to be someone else. The next thing you'll ask is to cut your nails and cover your ears so no one notices. Don't be ridiculous, Sophie. Go remove your makeup and take care of your ears. I'll lend you a nightgown until we go shopping again. The next morning, I dressed in a yellow long-sleeved blouse, a black miniskirt, black pantyhose, and the same heels from the day before. I was improving with my nails and only needed help with my anklet, as I still couldn't manage its tiny catch. As promised, Rachel stopped at the bin so I could deposit the filled bags. Closing the lid felt like closing a chapter of my past. I turned and started walking toward my future.